you walk me through like the psychology of your process? Are you a one call close guy? Are you an appointment guy? And why do you choose to go about it that way? Or do you do kind of a mixture of both?
Honestly, just depends. Yeah, and I wouldn't say I'm a master of sales. I mean, like I said, I've been doing this for a year. So you can't learn everything in a year. But my process is super simple. It's literally just like an introduction. And then the biggest thing to build trust, in my opinion, is I always email over a copy of my license right away. So a lot of basic scripts where, you probably know, it's like grab a pen and paper is like a really common thing in a script. I always email over all my credentials with a picture of myself. So it's like my copy of my license. It's a picture of myself in my, you can do like the signatures at the bottom of your email with my business card. And I'm like, hey, can you open up that email real quick for me? And so you can verify who I am. And then they'll open up their phone, look at my license, look at a picture of myself, and then they can just put a face to the name. That's like the biggest thing to me, is like building a relationship with the client, because you can just tell, like when I wasn't doing that before, just trying to get them to get a pen and paper. Yeah, you do take control over the conversation in a sense, but in my opinion, when they can just put a face to the name, it's like they're talking to a real person. They know what you look like, they know all that kind of stuff. But yeah, my script's basic, man. It's just the intro, the email, and then straight into power questions, just trying to build a rapport. If they have any active life insurance, how long have they been looking? What was your primary goal with getting this insurance in place? Just kind of basic power questions, honestly. It's a pretty simple process in my opinion. And if I'm feeling like they're busy, if I can like hear like, oh, they're driving or at work, I'll always try to push for an appointment, because I'm not a big pushy guy. Like I like to just be like, kind of just go with the flow. If they want to, I can just kind of tell sometimes. Yeah. So mine's pretty simple. After my power questions, I just explain to them how I'm a broker. I'll read off it word for word, I have right here. So after the power questions, I get a good rapport off them and a good idea of what they'll be looking for. I'll just go straight and say, okay, awesome. The way this works is super simple. I work with roughly 30 different A-rated insurance carriers, and my goal is to see which one of these carriers will offer you the best rate for the insurance. Just so you know, when it comes to life insurance, it's solely based off two things. It's based off your age and your health. So the information I get from a couple quick yes or no medical questions will really just give me guidance into making sure I can put you in the best position possible. Does that make sense? And then they're usually like, yeah. So now they have an understanding. Because I think the biggest thing is when you get into quotes with clients and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so expensive, and they have no clue why. It's like, you got to break down what causes these premiums to go up. You have to go to different carriers based off medical guidelines and stuff like that. So I think when you're explaining the process, diving into why the premiums change and, what dictates the cost is a big thing to me. So that's like my explain the process, and it's straight medical questions and then quotes.
For the people that don't know what power questions are, what are power questions?
Power questions to me is just like being able to build a rapport and a good idea of who I'm working with. Asking if they're working full time, do they have any active life insurance? Because some people you don't know, maybe they're looking for cheaper coverage, you have no clue. So I think that's a big thing, is like diving into those main power questions to just build a rapport with the client and just know who you're dealing with. I think that's why I do it for sure.
So for the agent, just so everybody that's watching, right, what Steven is saying is after the intro, he's not just going straight into like, hey, let's talk about the quote, trying to just push aggressively. He's coming into the conversation, he's having the intro phone script, and then he is transitioning into a rapport building phase that's not just asking or saying things like, how was your day, and mindless things, but being very intentional with the questions that he's asking. Because I'm sure if he said he was married, if the person said they were married and it was Jane and the other person was John, probably gonna ask about John, ask more deeper questions, and really be able to layer, so that builds rapport. You could probably throw a joke or two in there. I think that's very, 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 very important, because a lot of people just try to, they come into calls with preconceived notions, and that's number one, how you miss out on a lot of premium. That's the biggest thing. And then number two, it's really misses out on actually setting it up for the family, which also ties in with the premium, because if you don't really know why they filled it out or who could be affected if they pass away, you have no heartstrings to pull on when you end up communicating with them, which is, evident in the way that you're able to kind of sell.